For lunch. Okay, this is the committee of conference on the FY 25 budget, and we are going through a scintillating document technical amendments, and we left off on page 12, section C 112. If I have it correctly.
Yes. And so for the record, Emily Byrne from the Joint Fiscal Office. Before we go back to page 12, I will go to 11 just to make you aware. In between the committee meetings, we got an email from administration at the bottom of page 11 where it says Secretary of Administration shall revert for their request. They would like that shall to be a may revert.
We're updating real time. And why is that? Did they say what one of those pages? Page 11?
So I think it will depend on
What's available.
what's available.
Well, that's why it says up to.
But if it's shall up to.
Oh, and then
may
it's
up
10
to.
million, then we could.
Yeah, so it gives them a little bit, it doesn't make it absolutely required.
So, yeah, it was the wrong thing.
Okay, so I can do
Yep. And some experience.
Do tell.
All right. Tell more.
Page 12.
page 12, so section C 112, this one, the recommendation for the technical letter is just related to how it's lettered and numbered. We will consult with Ledge Council and make sure they double check that we are lettering and numbering sort of correct with their format. Once what happens with the opioid abatement special fund.
They want to name traditional numbering taxonomy. Well, who could quarrel with that? That's what they're doing there.
A. Is it auto back?
Auto. Okay. All right.
Section C 115 on the global commitment transfer. This was
Oh, yes.
language recommended by the administration for the cybersecurity incident at DEVA and the impact on.
So they're amending their own language that they gave us. And this obviously is to deal with the cash flow problem with the pharmaceutical rebates because of the.
Yeah,
data
we
breach.
waited for that.
Yeah.
So who on our side is like, I mean, it's good, they provided it, we know why it's there, how do we know that this is getting the job done? Do we have?
That's
Our
what
ledge
joint fiscal is, and joint fiscal would be looking at to make sure that the references to the.
So, you tell us if it's wrong, or if we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, you would advise that.
We'll
that's
advise
a
if it's
problem.
wrong.
Yeah,
That's why we're asking them to review this to tell us
right.
if it needs to be done or not.
So section C 116, this one is related to the forgivable loans and VHIP, but I think there's language being worked on related to this with Ledge Council, so I think that one.
So,
And that is one of the recommendations that came out of that report.
okay.
Forgivable loans, this is workforce.
Yeah, isn't the big bill last year?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or is this a different group of forgivable loans?
It's a great-
What's in the report?
Oh, this is Grady Mike.
So it's separate from another section related to the AHEC and VSAC report.
Right.
This is an Act 78 program. VSAC requested similar carry forward authority. We inserted this section with the technical letter. You'll see another section of it recommends just adding carry forward to an existing section of that language rather than adding in this wholesale new section.
Okay, so this will be replaced by.
Yes, so there are
Okay.
two pieces in the technical letter connected to that.
So section C 118, this refers to, there was an increase in the reversion from the universal school meals appropriation because of the way that the original universal school meals was appropriated. This is actually modifying. We're gonna, instead of doing it as the reversion in section D 101, we'll do an amendment to the original appropriation.
For university meals.
Yeah.
Then
So this-
the original
The lower.
Appropriation.
appropriation.
We're, we'll double check this with Julia first.
Yeah, I knew that they, was coming in a bit lower.
Come in twice, cause we
20.
found it and
Yeah.
then you guys found more afterwards, yeah.
Well, we didn't find it.
Find it, they found us.
They- We were happy to accept it.
It was
finally.
found, yeah.
All right, so that is still, you're being working on that. So we're now up to,
C-119. Yeah, so this one, we don't actually think there's anything that needs to be changed in this. The note is that it doesn't, so we increase the amount available, or the Senate increased the amount
By
available.
15,000.
15,000. Based
Right.
on some
That was the hard,
That one
Back-
time,
hardware
hardware
back.
with
yeah.
well, we
incorrect.
had 10,000 on the bottom line, and they were owed another 25,000, because they fell into the 75,000 bracket.
Right.
So they did all that for 15,000 adjustment.
Well, there's a question in here about, it's not specific about where the $15,000 amount goes, and that's intentional, and that they're gonna run the analysis based on the numbers that they have, and then allocate per the instructions in the legislation, so it's not intentionally, it doesn't say this many municipalities get this grant, so we don't think we change anything.
So who is running the numbers?
That's what, that's what I was.
Who is the they that gives the towns the money?
Secretary of Administration's office.
It will be, okay.
Doug Farnham's got the data in terms of,
Sarah.
what?
It is
Sarah.
I don't know, in Harvard's case, what's happened was just a
No.
mistake, but, so I don't know if who's running the, payments and.
Nobody's been paid yet.
No.
No.
Oh, because we've had municipalities ask about it.
Yeah.
So we think that's not necessary.
We, the language is not necessary.
Yeah, there's no
But the
change.
money is necessary.
So in section C-120, this one,
Do we have any idea when the payments are going out?
I don't know the answer to that question, we can find out though.
No, I just wondered in light of.
It's kind of been a long time. It's
Since
been a budget adjustment, right?
Like this stuff for the treasury, so they're just backed up with work.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of work.
I'm sure.
Okay, so this section's open anyway, so I don't think we,
Yeah, we got some.
see 120, and this is how we, took that money that was not spended,
Late in the day.
which is a spend and unexpended. I
So-
created a new word.
I did ask because it references one-time general fund. And it's not house's belief that it was one-time general fund, from FY 24. So did ask to have that double checked, to have JFO double check that.
I don't think our intent was, we thought that was a base appropriation.
I agreed, and so did we, but, the administration is writing one time. So, I just asked for that to be, and agreed, we haven't settled on that, but I just wanna make sure we settle on the base versus one time. I'm pretty sure it's in base, but.
I think that, yes, that was our intent, that these are, ongoing supports. And part of it was,
And this is still an open
This is,
question, so
this is a big open question.
and we did get from the, I realized it was advocacy for that one, homeless program in
Yes.
county.
Yes.
The administration got, in our letter back from the agency, they said, rather than pre-selecting one program, there might be other youth programs. And wanted to have some flexibility to make sure that there wasn't sort of a pre-select and one gets and the other doesn't.
Yeah, I think that, there's some question about that, that came from the business office, as I understand it. So we're just having some conversations with Commissioner Winters to make sure that that was his intent.
His letter, what he said,
I understood from the email that I got that that came from the business office.
well,
As opposed to Chris.
well, we have a representative of the AHS, fiscal, so guess we can get some clarification on that, but I don't expect you to respond right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Okay, but I think this,
I think they're listening, they may be
um,
responding.
so we're not doing anything here
No,
because it's
no,
tied up,
It's
so,
yeah.
we'll just deal with it once we make a final decision.
Okay.
What is this?
Fund transfers.
D 101, there's a couple things going on, one in subpart A5B, we're gonna add the fund number to be consistent with all the other sections here. Subpart B, they're adding the financial institutions supervision fund and then removing it from subpart 3 below.
What is that?
So when it was discovered that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission
Oh, that was
was
for them.
funded,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
administration
Yeah.
recommended a reversion,
Mhm.
a reversion
Okay,
from,
Oh, yeah,
or not a reversion, a transfer.
Right.
from-
okay. I just never heard that particular fund name before.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming from DFR, but that's the fund, the specific fund.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
So upon consideration, because we just used their proposed language.
We had originally, when they had, we had just added it to the list of the DFR funds, but they're recommending,
yeah.
don't include it in the list, put it in the list of other funds, because it's not typically one that's
We agreed to-
went to the end of this year.
But my arm's down.
it's sort of a one-time
Just a
event.
one-time
because they
thing.
forgot to-
No, my question is, are they modifying the language they submitted, or is this language we drafted and they're
Well,
correcting? I'm just wondering.
I'm seeing that top line looks like it's different from what we've seen too, they.
I think
seem
they're
to change
modifying the
numbers.
language they submitted because it doesn't normally come from this fund.
Right, but it looks like the above, they go from 68 to 66.
Yes, because they
Right.
moved the 1.1 up just.
Up to-
Oh, from that, from.
Right. Right.
So, and I can't remember what when
Right.
they told us to take the money originally, if they told us to put it in E3 or to put it in 1, but
It's the
we'll
structure.
clean it up now.
Yeah.
All
that
right,
makes-
so I think we can probably sit down and pull that, since it's just.
Yeah.
Enough, yes.
And in subpart C 1 and 2, we just grabbed the wrong disaster number, so that updates it to the
Oh.
correct disaster.
All right,
So D 102, this was a good catch, this should be FY 25 and not FY 24. We'll make that change.
and we all were in agreement with that reversion.
Yeah.
D 103, the reserves, that number will be updated, at the last. sort of
Oh, the
last
budget
thing we do.
stabilization.
Right.
Yeah. Same for the subpart 3, I believe this was in the earlier section, changing it from excluded to deducted.
Is there a difference from a fiscal perspective?
Because it would have to be there.
If you're excluding it, you're not
Never
considering
counted
it,
it,
or
you
you,
never counted it.
or, right, you don't count it. I guess the first is you count, you
Count
acknowledge
it
it
and
and
then
then
deduct
deduct it.
it versus don't include it, which feels like.
This feels like auto.
And or maybe it has something to do with reserve piece, so if you have to count it and then you.
I deduct transfer versus. I'm not a CPA and I don't try to pretend to be one, so I.
Well, they may happen at
Don't
different
know.
points in tax.
All right, but I guess unless,
Somebody
we want to follow this, or I don't say, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Do you wanna,
it says here, adjust it for a house error, I don't know what that means. Just like.
And treating a net zero appropriation as a reversion.
Well, they must have not caught it with the other 30
Oh,
page technical letter.
yeah. I know
what they missed
The
it.
second 30
That
pages.
is-
We always try to give them something to catch.
By the way, it's their language to begin with.
All
But
right, so now we're under the big money.
D 104 is the language that's in the bill, sort of as the placeholder for pay act. If it's decided that the pay act appropriation will come into the bill, then this section will be struck, because it will be not necessary, because you'll have the actual pay
You're
act in the
saying
bill.
moving
we
payment.
just
moved
passed
it
it out of our
committee.
committee, yeah. We do that, that's a good job.
Yeah, there'll be a notice
Yeah, it's
and on the
H
forefront.
889.
So maybe it'll travel separately then,
Yeah,
who knows?
If it does travel separately, then these
this
will,
language
yeah,
is needed.
then we'll update the language.
that maybe up to the Senate.
So if it goes into budget. This
Not
comes
the
out.
turnaround on that's pretty limited.
We're meeting Friday, it'll be Friday and Monday on the floor.
Wait, sure, then Friday,
So when it came out, it'll be on notice tonight for tomorrow, right?
I'm talking about the next week is
I
our
know.
final week.
I
Right,
know.
that's the,
That's what
we call the, that's the week of the floor dances.
Right.
And it depends on what happens in the Senate government operations when they get the pay. I don't
Well,
know.
They had joint hearings and so forth, so I'm hoping it could be, yeah. Still a lot of money there.
There it is. Where is it?
So in section E 100, this originally was just executive branch positions, and then when the judicial positions were added in the Senate, we turned it into executive and judicial branch positions, and the administration is requesting that we move the positions that are created for the legislative branch into this section and then call it positions, which is, and they're currently in E 127, 126 area where the legislative
Oh,
appropriations
they're
are.
in the E section.
They're in the-
125, 126.
Yeah. And it probably is, you know, a good cleanup to just put all of the positions created all in this section. We'll just call it
And just
positions.
identify them by branch.
Yeah,
And so these are all the permanent exempt positions at the moment in here. So limited service positions, if we have some of those,
they would be added to, they're in there under, there's under a separate.
so we may have some
subheader.
of those also based on some bills we saw from the Senate today.
Our question?
What's the number it establishes, is that crossed out the 33 and the 4? In
I think it's
42?
No, I think it's
Is
insert 42. We'll
It looks
make
like
sure that
it's
number
because
is
it's
that
correct.
way the
42?
Oh, yeah,
The
because
way the
it's,
fours
that's
go,
because it's
it makes it
added,
look
it's
like the line.
additive to the ones that are already there, so
Okay.
it moves it from 33 in this section to 42.
But it's the way the
Okay.
four, the
It looks like
shape
the
that
line
it looks
went
like
through
the
the
line
four.
through the
I
four goes
was
all the way
having
through.
trouble looking at that.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, are these different from the positions we approved at JLNC this morning?
On the legislative.
Right, because I thought we approved 2 attorneys and 1 analyst in joint fiscal, and.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are, you, this was what you,
The two undesignated ones and then
The law clerk and audiovisual specialists were approved at JLMC back when the budget was
In
done in
October.
December, October, yeah. So those 2 have been there, and then there were 2
These are
additional
2 new
ones
ones.
today. For the-
Okay, but they weren't really undesignated, we approved attorney positions, so.
Yeah, so I think what happened here was the administration interpreted legislative council position not as the position, but positions in legislative council, not realizing that the position is also called legislative council. So they interpreted it as undesignated position.
So
That
do we
would
need to
be-
change, I guess, the
We'll just make that
description of the
legislative.
position?
Yeah,
Council.
strike of undesignated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's raised question. Okay. And yeah, and the one panel
And then 1
downstairs,
yeah.
that's education finance. Okay.
2 lost legislative council that are undesignated, just wandering around.
I will claim them.
I know, we'll take this.
It's like the boneless chicken we're in.
Yeah, right.
All of them,
Right,
chickens are flopped
exactly.
over. They have no bones. Okay, 106, they really like this, huh?
I believe this is changes to their own language.
And this is the ARPA.
Yeah.
So they don't like reallocation, they like to stop.
So there's something, although I don't know if this is the timing. All right, it's the timing.
It's September though.
Okay, all right, we may have this a part of like, but there's authorized prior to December 31st.
So we have that.
I'm only concerned about some of my anxiousness
Isn't this some
around.
of your language though?
It is, but you know, like where we have the timing is, let me just rephrase that. I don't know, maybe you were hearing something. If there's any ARPA money available earlier than us deciding to put it into play sooner, I'm thinking, which I've had come to the Vermont Housing Conservation Board, only because looking for opportunities to have them build more and more and more and more, and this is money that I didn't know if was, had to wait till December 31st? Or is it, that's my question to the world, you don't have to answer this now, but can this be, let's say that there's ARPA money available like July? You know what I mean, that we see whether it's in joint fiscal or someplace that, that might be available. Can we move it, and how would that move, and who's got the authority, and is it in here? Questions I don't know the answers to, but I'd love for it to not have to wait till December 30th.
There is some.
So I think if it
Any
is,
number 5 with the bottom.
I think if anything before December 31 would follow this priority list initially. And then number 5, if they get to
Yeah.
95 million, something like that.
Mhm.
They get to 95 and it's before December, and then number 5 kicks in and they have to come to joint fiscal. And
Right.
ask to reallocate it
So I don't think
elsewhere.
there's the intent, I didn't read this as delaying.
Delaying it, I didn't want it to
No,
wait.
because we've been saying probably it'd be in September that they would start really understanding how much is
Right.
available to be, reallocated.
Reallocated.
Now they call it new spending.
Right, so in section D, it says shall revert all unobligated prior to December 31st, 2024. We don't say when prior, but it's supposed to be prior, I think that's the intent to
And
make that happen.
I don't think there's any disagreement
No,
that
that-
everyone wants to make sure none of that money gets returned, so it's
Right.
as soon as it's
Returned and-
identified.
And it, I mean, or what
We can put that in our.
it did, that just, you know, like the match
Yeah.
money, like you see, like the first position here at 36 million. And it's just, it's going into a holding tank. Whereas the 30 million and the 25 million could actually be used, like as soon as they get their hands on it. I would like to get it in their hands quicker.
Well,
And it would still keep, we still need to keep the 36, the 4. I just wanna make sure that there's not something that makes them have to wait. Okay, you don't have to answer now, but if anybody has an answer to that,
but I think we could look at what we've got on the contingent fund, that's gonna move money out, early in the fiscal year.
right,
So there, even though this might come out a little bit later, there's a slug of money, on that contingent list
or some other thing,
Yes.
Right.
yeah. Anyway, just wanted to bring that up that, having conversations around making sure that we move out as much opportunities for shelters as we start to move away from, or continuing to move away from the hotel program, that was showing the opportunity to build more shelter than others is there. Pressure, it's a pressure building.
That's why we put on. Contingent leases another 10 million. Yeah.
Right,
Okay,
right,
the sooner it goes,
But that can go as soon as closeout.
right.
okay,
So,
okay, just wanted to get it on the record.
um,
On page 22, E125, and 126.1, this is those positions that we just talked about
Move.
that are now moved, so that language will be struck.
are they session only law clerk? I didn't remember.
So
that.
it converting two session only to one full-time year round, and that's why it's the position created earlier.
Yes, it
It's
should
one full
say,
one, and they took two part-time and made one full one. And
I understand, but I'm looking at the language they're asking for, 2 session only law clerk positions.
are hereby abolished.
Hereby abolished.
Right, abolished.
Where,
very,
oh,
So there,
So we're keeping that.
all right.
that part will
Okay,
stay,
all right,
the establishment will move new positions over.
this is very hard to say.
Yeah.
It is, okay. All right, that's
So
okay, then,
Okay.
126, okay, for line renovation,
Share of.
we're gonna add that of in there, and then that would be better.
okay.
127, E127, that's the same thing, that's moving the joint fiscal position.
Yeah, okay.
Position section. This E127.2, the fee report, we need to work with, Chris and Ted on the revenue team within joint fiscal to review this. So to determine what if any changes needs to be made.
What did
What
they
did they,
want?
there's nothing right there.
There's a lot of commentary on some of the, how it's written, so we'll review it and made some suggested changes.
Well, this
We'll-
was something that we were asking, that we do this bucket of fees, so.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll, assume that you're taking a hard look and, make any recommended. All right, so we are now,
E-132. This one, we will reach out to, or we have reached out to, we'll get confirmation from the treasurer's office. That this change is okay.
Where does this come from? The language change, that came from the administration?
Yeah. Just in the-
So the treasurer needs to confirm.
Oh, the eight piece, yeah, that was his.
The E-139 grand list litigation assistance.
I have to say, I thought we had that,
So
agreed upon between between Viva or AHS and the treasurer's office. I know that we've said, because we didn't put it in, remember the BAA? And then we said we
Right.
really needed to make sure that
Right.
all parties were in agreement and the language was right and, there wasn't a problem with the Medicaid, requirements. So, okay, well, at least this before it got in final, so we can, and with your checking, someone's checking with the treasurer.
Yep.
Alright, grand list, this is my legacy here.
Yeah.
How I want.
This is the one I have.
So this is language that they submitted and then are asking for a technical change too, so.
This is the normal standard language that they haven't changed for years, and so they don't wanna reserve it.
Yes, it's not reserved, it's just reverted. But it's not necessary.
Reverse.
Well, because I think we've tried to build up a fund, because we've also,
This is it where the hydro.
Yeah, it
yes,
is.
it is.
This is the litigation piece, right?
Yeah, and we
Right.
had, we actually had another dam up in Franklin County and, yeah, and,
Yeah.
actually that appraisal got challenged and, in fact, the court, did not agree with the appraisal. They did with all the ones on the Connecticut River. Interestingly enough, it was the same appraiser, so
Yes.
it was, and then they had, remember they were on the hook for the education fund payments and we dealt
Right,
with
that
that.
was a big.
So what, could you, Emily, tell us, we had, and they don't wanna reserve it. Is that basically it?
I bet somebody wanted to pinch, I'm sorry, I'll use better
Well, it's-
terminology, somebody wanted. to
I don't know
reverse it,
if
and they
I
said,
wanna
"Oh, you
agree to
can't,
that."
it's
I think
I
supposed
wanna
to be
agree with
reserved."
that.
Well,
They want it
Because it
Yeah,
can be,
like-
it can be very expensive.
But it's tricky because it's interdepartmental transfer spending authority, so we don't really reserve spending authority from the interdepartmental transfer fund.
You don't.
You don't reappropriate it
Okay.
I thought
annually.
this was a special fund. They had
No,
taxes.
no,
Okay.
I don't think so. All right, so with that explanation, then I guess might have. The because it's the appropriation that's being referenced. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
All right, we'll. Public safety,
This one is just a technical changing, any unobligated funds to unobligated spending authority. Which is fine.
Okay.
Similar one in E-300.3, changing dollars appropriated to appropriations.
you can sometimes have spending authority and you don't have the money.
Yes.
So, any unobligated spending authority. I'm just kind of wondering. Normally,
General
fund
challenge.
If it's. That is true, if it is a general funded appropriation, then you do have the funds. If it's from a special fund, you don't necessarily have. the
It
funds.
says of the general fund appropriation, that's what's being allocated for
Yeah.
this. Any unobligated. I don't know, normally spending authority, we're very nervous about if there's no money behind it, so I'm just wondering why funds got replaced.
I think because it's the general fund specifically, not a special fund. But we could check it
So well, I'm gonna take off my okay.
yeah, I guess, and they
Checking.
check. All right, 303.3 is appropriations. General, that's just,
That's being assigned,
that
yeah.
seems to be a lot, the others kind of off, I'm sorry, we wrote it that way, but. Okay, so we'll agree with that, rate analyses.
That one will be determined, you know, sort of where that one stands will be determined when the committee determines which study, what is happening with all of the human services studies.
To the extent resources allow, if no resources have to be provided to perform analysis. You. Studies required. To the
That's an
extent that
interesting comment.
resources allow. Sorry, I just read it out loud.
Well, that was a recognition of the workload that we were placing on them, so it was if the, workload can accommodate that additional analysis, then, please undertake it, but our priority was first of all, the marketplace rate analysis, and then the second, I'm probably right up there at the top, was doing the necessary development work for the MSP, which seems to be a really top priority. And then they've got the 5 hospital pilot project. And I think there was a third one, so it was like, how much can one department realistically do at a particular time? The other thing I would say about the studies, I'm sure that they're being undertaken to demonstrate that Medicaid is underpaying. And so those could be another exercise like the FQACs where, yes, we might say we could change it and fund it, but, so it was just a matter of trying to recognize the workload and the priority of what we wanted them to do. And my impression was it did a bit, the first one was what they felt they had to do relative to, and I can get out Stephanie's email on that. But the second is certainly the development work for the NSP, which frankly,
Mhm.
Can we just
if
take
we all
that,
agree.
yeah, can we just take that sentence, that phrase out?
Well, it's basically saying we recognize they've got a lot of workload and so we didn't want to repeat remember the, Alphonse Gaston kind of, situation that we had, with the Department of Agency of Education.
Yes.
And so, it's sort of recognizing,
How do we give them flexibility without and also being directive?
Well,
Yeah,
because we want the work to be done.
Right, I was just gonna say, I think it, I guess, comes down to what priorities,
Right.
what priorities do we set, what priorities do they set? They conduct periodic rate reviews of a whole variety of different Medicaid services, and sometimes, I guess it's just kind of a, whether or not we have a meeting of the minds about whether or not this falls outside,
Or where this falls in the
or
prayer.
where this falls in that priority list, I guess, yeah.
which is really what I was trying to recognize, when he had this language. So those,
So there might be a more articulate way of actually saying that with the directive, just
Because this is
one.
we could end up
Want
with
them to
nothing.
do it, yeah.
Yeah, we really want them to. do
I thought your language was fine, but
well, if in fact, all the other initiatives that we really, if we're in agreement, that we want that work done. And I imagine setting up a hospital global payment structure is gonna be a tremendous amount of work. And that's key to managing, healthcare costs, and it's a critical piece of healthcare reform or payment reform. So, that was just saying, how do we want to triage the workload and be honest that maybe not everything that we want to have done can be done in 1 year.
So then I think we should prioritize and say which ones to put them in order of priority. You have 3 things.
And then as resources allow or something,
Right, but the first priority is the second.
okay.
But I think.
And we did put the funding in for the startup work for the MSP.
Right.
Which, you know,
Simple language, I have some corrections from Mike Fisher's and.
you know, that's.
So we'll look at
that's-
it.
yes.
Yeah.
That's.
So we can maybe make it clearer, in terms of, you know, the things that we wanna move forward on, and then as,
Yeah, oh, there we go. That's, I'm sorry, the next page.
I wasn't thinking we were gonna talk about that particular
oh,
handout today, so I had to throw that in.
oh,
Maximum,
Well, no, no, we
I thought
just,
this was, there was some,
There was some
something
other
about one
things.
ninety-five is the,
and just go, this language, it seems like,
the maximum percent.
I think you guys have language from elsewhere that's
Right.
currently under review, so
Yes.
that and this will get.
We'll merge them together.
Figure out.
Right.
Although
So this will be.
this will hold and.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we need to make a decision around, and there was also
Right.
money for the startup. This kind of looks similar to the language we had heard needed, so,
It does.
Yeah, so we,
I'm not
that
yet
tomorrow.
I was
All right,
going to say
we'll
that
have
it seems like that hits the right spot there.
all right.
Education loan repayment for healthcare.
This is the A and all the other, and we had all the language.
Or what this council.
Are we?
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
okay.
And whoever else, is this VSAC? Is this a VSAC or no?
There was a whole bunch of, I think that Chair Hogan gave us some of this, was to align all the language so that we were.
It's language that came out of the study, and Nolan was one of the authors, and it included recommendations from both VSAC and AHAC.
Right.
This is the-
And this is, so this is really to, implement, and from our perspective, we said, Nolan, the folks, you wrote it, you know what we needed to do, you make sure that the language does what, what was recommended by the,
Right.
in the report.
We've gotten a lot of language from over about this.
Yeah.
Time we had.
This is the A.
Assuming that they, have these seven.
So I do have a copy of the report, if anyone would like to read it, including the highlighted sections in terms of,
But trust.
all right, well, if you don't wanna read the primary
I
document.
totally want to read it. I can't wait. Right after the book. As long as I can go to the beach and have that.
No one called Kitty, she probably would take it in,
Yeah.
and since she's on the beach walking.
I know.
Where is she?
In Florida,
Oh, God.
it's just beautiful, sunny, 80 degrees, only one person on the beach, and she's out there at 7, relaxing, and what are we doing?
Send me a picture. Eating with a mimosa. And
Off the chair.
swearing. I was like.
All right.
Okay, sorry.
313. Oh, this is, okay, this is something that you
Yeah.
wanted, Senator Weston.
No, how they changed it.
Where are you looking? The Vermont Provider Network. Who's, all right, so who's the Vermont Preferred Provider Network? Is that different than Vermont Care Partners?
Yeah, it includes people besides Vermont Care Partners, that's why it's not only designated as specialized service agencies.
Right.
There's other people in addition to the
And we're,
SSA.
okay, all right, so we weren't intending to limit who
No.
was brought to the table.
Didn't think to live it.
All right, so with Teresa's explanation of who else this would,
Are you okay with this?
Yeah.
our goal is obviously to deal with the fact that we have neighbor beds that now are not in use because of
Well, there,
operational
you have the
issues.
Howard and the Whale County mental health job.
That's closed, right?
That closed, and then there is apparently, at least, one or two other places in the state that are considering property.
Yeah.
And is that what we want?
No.
Again, it comes down to what we pay.
That,
And workforce too.
And workforce,
It's-
and workforce,
it's
it is
tough.
tough.
Yeah. Okay, so we're fine with the more expansive, because the default is people are ending up at the correctional facilities.
I'm sure if we found that someone will correct us.
The other, in 321 is
Which I go,
and from,
So we sent these to Ledge Council.
Okay.
Take a look at.
All right, so this is just language to go with that section. So that's
That
John's
section's
edited.
still open.
It is.
Yes.
Same with 321.1, just making sure that.
Must be they have an editor over there.
Yes, Joan, yeah.
So that's also editing.
320E, 325, we're
Oh
reviewing.
my God, continuum of care. I mean, they really are. Somebody a Latin major?
Well, there's two,
Because
it's
dollars amount is different.
there's
too.
now two programs, not just
What?
one.
Right, it's.
I know, I know.
I like the Latin.
I know, I
Should all
know.
be tested.
I know, we should.
There are several of us in joint fiscal who have experience
Datum,
in Latin.
datum, yeah.
Right.
I love that, I love that.
What about the dollar?
The dollar amount.
We are double checking that because it changed from one technical letter, it changed in the first technical letter and then it's changing again, so we're gonna just
All
double
right,
check it.
double
This
check.
is the hot grant. Right? This is
Yeah,
the
that's-
329. Or it's where they live, I don't know if it's just for that, but yeah.
I tried to sort that out and I read it and, but I think so.
Yeah.
So we.
The House version of the language is correct, but the Senate version of now is incorrect, so.
Oh. We're getting scored here.
You're getting scored on which is correct, House and Senate.
And it wasn't either, it was theirs.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, did we change it from,
Well,
we
we
got rid of
changed
the
it
two?
in the Senate per the technical letter and then.
They changed their mind?
Right, but it wasn't the
Well,
Senate, well, the Senate version, was
They're
because they
checking.
corrected it to the technical letter that we got.
Now they've
For
changed their
Jane.
mind.
Right.
So it's administration, it's not.
Right, exactly, both were.
We'll figure it out,
It will be.
and we can fix it in the BAA.
We're getting very sensitive, very sensitive.
All right. Sort of like, you know, the line from Love Song with J. Alfred Prufrock, 100 visions and revisions. So. I got that one with the two, we have a poetry line. I don't, poetry.
Robin.
Well, you know the line that I'm talking about, like a patient etherized upon a table. I love that.
That etherized about it yesterday, really. Sorry.
A day in the legislature. All right, 339.
339,
With the
so I
bill.
believe this section, there's actually gonna be changes, coming from legislative council per what's going on with S195, with S195.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, we moved that today.
What's?
yeah. Then
Yeah, there's a lot of changes.
there's a lot of, there's some changes there, so.
Okay.
So can I just ask a question of that, and, well, I guess maybe I'll wait to hear what's,
Yeah,
that's fine, 95.
Pre-trial.
Yeah, I mean, the way this language reads, it would mean all savings go to pre-trial, and I just didn't know. if
Within that
any
bill.
Justice reinvest, if it's being split between justice reinvestment and pre-trial, no.
No, what we're trying to do is measure the number of beds that are not being taken by detainees, and therefore we're buying fewer out-of-state beds and using those savings from that decline in detainees.
So
as a
B
result.
339 is only detainees.
Yes. No, it wasn't to go in and compete with the other uses of justice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not-
right.
It was
December
it's-
appropriation
Because,
too.
Yeah, that's what I didn't.
Yeah.
B 339.
No, I understand that. No, it was, when we got done, to get to the bottom line, we didn't, as I said, Senator Sears, the committee would have liked 2.4 million. We said, we can't give you as much money for all of the things you wanna do. And so that was the bottom, and then I had to go back and say, but the box I gave you included, you know, the judges, so. The only place to go was to reduce the startup of this program, but with the understanding that. If we're successful in reducing the number of individuals, detainees.
Yeah,
Who are in
Yeah.
occupying, beds in our facilities, and therefore those beds are now available for inmates home. then those savings could be used to support the rollout of the free trial.
It's my understanding, I just got a text, that there'll be some new language for this, so we'll take a look at what that is, that which, I think that, Representative Squirrel and Senator Sears have been working on this, so I think we just.
All right, okay.
The other, and we had this yesterday, we held it on because we didn't have the fiscal note
That's
that
fine.
included the corrections and institutions had a big amendment. And from what I understand, there was 660,000 here, but the fiscal note originally was like $1 million, and I thought, okay, that's not matching, so can somebody update that?
Well, it got updated by the amount of money we had on the bottom line, that's what happened, as you know, in the process.
So the update came in at 8 something, and then
So
they're
that,
in the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Continuing to
Yeah.
be.
so that's.
Chair Evans came in and did a good job of explaining why we moved the bill on.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Flexible pathways. What
Oh, that's-
is all
you've
this?
got-
These are just
Robin.
clarifying
Well,
clarifying language that's, usually. It's pretty much.
Oh,
the same
oh,
area.
this is the 60-40 split?
yes, and
Okay.
we have the language for that here.
You do.
They changed it, yes, so that we, Senator Westman, Senator Campion, Representative Mahali, myself, everybody's looked at it and everybody is fine with it. So I have that
You wanna
language,
offer that?
so I'd like to offer that.
Good place, because it's a cool, yeah.
Great, yeah.
Here,
Funding on this is good. I have
Yeah.
one, so.
we got one.
Yeah.
Does anybody else need?
I've got it.
Anybody else want one?
This is adult ed.
And we decided the place it should travel is with the money here in the budget.
Yes, yes, so this is basically extracting from the other bill, and it's longer than you would think it would normally be, except we're clarifying what the name of the program is, because we're changing they changed the high school completion, so the whole program is gonna be called the Adult Education and Secondary Credential Program, so there's a lot of places on these pages where that's conforming language to change to that. So the sections A and D establish the program. And then, the section D on page 2 ensures payment. To the adult ed places, and then the formula is officially put in here, that's the language in section 2.
Or down at the bottom.
Yeah, that's the formula, right,
60.
right. And then the rest of the pages are really, you'll see, they're just changing it to the correct title of adult education and secondary credential opportunities.
Well, we knew this was being work, so.
Yeah.
Probably good to have another thing we can close out.
Yes,
All right, so
so,
looks like it's been vetted by all the people who need to.
Yeah. so I'd recommend we close it out, yeah. Everybody here.
I
Like your 2 years of work.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right, okay, so that would be line,
504.1 is gonna be.
504.1 plus the language, right?
Oh, you're back to the fold-out
We
sheet.
put it on line 153, but adult ed.
Oh, we did, that's right.
What line is it?
153.
Of the fish.
Oh,
Well, it's, no, so
Maybe I have to go.
when new stuff comes, so that's the thing, when we use an old one, if new stuff comes up, we're gonna add it to the.
Yeah, that's okay.
Where do I find it?
I don't know, line
It's on
153.
line 153 on the big sheet, it's on the top of page 3.
Oh, boring on this one, okay. Yeah, I found it. Other sections, new issue.
Right. So that is the
Oh,
one.
Education finance analysis, that's the one in AOE that we have
Yes,
to.
yes.
Okay.
Can we say yes to that? It's 125,000.
Yeah,
Stealing another.
I think we're agreeing that there was a little bit of money on the bottom line, and that's really.
Where I get it from.
Okay.
Alright,
So
so
125 for that position.
So that's 152 and 153. You're closed out. Highlighting at home. That you can close those two.
Going before, just on the yield bill position,
Yeah. That was our.
position gonna stay in the yield bill, or are we gonna pull it into this?
I would think it gets, well,
We don't have to decide it now, but we will add that as another sort of open item, is do you move the position,
I
like,
think
if
we should
it's
pull it
funded, that's
here.
fine, but where do we put the?
I don't want it to get forgotten.
it seems like regardless, we have to have a yield bill.
Right.
We absolutely, that's a must pass bill, otherwise we default back to those old tax rates.
Right.
So it's a must pass bill, just like the budget.
Right.
I don't know, I just like with a housing bill, modernize Act 250 for keeping the attorney and
Yeah.
the positions in there, so,
You don't have to decide right now.
Okay.
I think it did travel there.
We're not done with
But we
the
are-
bill
we are
yet, so we
accepting.
can always change our mind. You reserve the right to change your mind.
I think
but
what,
we've
I think what
accepted
we've
the
agreed,
position.
I think what we're agreeing is that it's a position that's badly needed, we have a
Right.
modest amount of money. And yet, unobligated, and this would be a priority related to the problems that are having, for
Yes.
education finance.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you, the woman who's taking Brad James' place she is just.
Nicole?
Oh,
Yeah.
she is a treasure, so
Yeah.
we are very fortunate that she
Yes. Yeah.
an incredible amount of work. I think she came from UVM. That was.
UVM,
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming to our committee as well. She's been excellent. Everybody's great. Sounds great.
She's very good, but when she was in our committee, there was all three or four of them, of education at the end of the table, and the whole room was full. And pages kept coming in with notes and kept handing it to her. The wrong end of the table.
Right, that, we should.
I'm actually the chair of House Appropriations. I don't know why they're giving it to me. Okay.
It was very cute.
Didn't know whether it was the foot of the table, the head of the.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't come with direction.
Okay.
They were new that week.
So we've now gotten through the letter. Are
Mhm.
there any other, have you had an opportunity to?
No,
Okay.
we've been busy with the. a whole lot of
Passing bills that we've sent us.
All right. Good.
But we did finish that education piece, so that's.
That's a big, that's a big one.
And the transportation section where you're having your first
Sorry,
meeting
Martin.
tomorrow.
Maybe I'll just have one meeting.
Thank you.
Oh, at least.
In one day.
Well, this is a good time.
Thursday.
So it's 4:30 and I think in the end, a lot of these will fall in place very quickly once we
Yeah.
understand. And the other issue, of course, is what's happening with
The
Fund
revenue.
81 and if that version of revenue that we assume will be building the budget
Right.
and help support some of the things that we added.
It would help us immensely if we if they could get that piece settled, and then we could move forward with confidence.
Yeah.
Or some equivalent.
Right.
We need that amount, we need that amount.
Yeah, or how we get to it.
Right.
But the miscellaneous tax bill, is now, we appointed a committee of conference this afternoon.
Thank you, thank you.
But that
That's
doesn't deal with S1A, one is really the ways and means. If that doesn't move forward. They can do a strike all if there's another
do.
funding mechanism.
They can put it in
They can support
miscellaneous tax.
4.9. No, it's not an either bill,
But if it's a miscellaneous tax bill, we can switch.
No.
Maybe it's tax.
it's in conference now,
You're going to
can't,
tax.
can't
Conference on
conference,
different
if
things.
it's not an
Not
either one.
supposed
No.
Not supposed to.
But
Yeah.
and then you get up on the
I
floor
see
and you have
what's
to
happening in conference committee.
Right.
So,
It's, I've been interrogated more than once, is there anything that you've agreed to that wasn't in either version?
Good question there.
You have a question?
So,
Okay.
when do we get
Back tomorrow?
That's what I was gonna say, I know that the Senate schedule has changed tomorrow morning, so we probably revisit when you're.
We were gonna come at 11:30.
And we are,
At 11.
we're on the floor.
At 11? If Teresa's already not gonna be there at 11:30, should we be there at 10?
We have a bill that we booked for the morning. I don't think I'll check.
Whole morning on one bill,
Well, it's not the morning, it's 3:10.
that's a long one,
It's a
3:10,
big bill. Disaster, natural,
but all the money is in the budget.
we hope.
All right, so
But
let me
anyways,
just check our.
just check our
I'm
schedule.
checking our
I
schedule.
think we told our committee to come in at 9, right?
I don't know, I don't remember. I didn't see it. So you could, tomorrow's
It
Thursday.
seems like an hour would get you through that.
Now it's 9:30.
9:30.
So maybe we can go back and.
Maybe we can see if they can come in at 9, and then
Okay.
we could be 10 o'clock
Yeah,
here.
okay. All right, let's
Yeah,
tentatively
we'll
set
this
this
here.
here tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
Can we do 10:15
Why?
and 9:30?
yeah.
Huh?
And,
You have a
We,
9:30?
we have to find time to talk.
Talk, so let's say 10:30. How's that feel?
All right.
All right.
Let's say how.
You're on the board 11?
Oh.
That might be all right, it's half an hour.
no, space.
Oh.
Why not?
So. So we need here at 10:15,
you know what,
have
let's give
45
it-
minutes.
yeah, our time is up.
Okay, we'll be
Alright,
here at
10:15,
10:15, and then 45
Okay.
minutes maybe will be enough for us in our committee, something, yeah,
All right.
or we'll see if they.
Okay, I know you're watching committee, did you hear that?
Maybe you'll be 9:15 committee, keep your eyes.
So Hannah, then I think we'll adjourn for today and we'll come back at
Check in the book.
9,
10:15.
10:15.